Hi guys, so today I'm coming to you with a Build-A-Squad focused on the U-Wing from the new Rogue One wave for X-Wing. I haven't done a Build-A-Squad in a while, and I figured this was a great opportunity because the U-Wing is a ship to me that just seems a little bit lackluster. It's physically beautiful, but I wasn't sure exactly what kind of list to build with it right away. So I decided I wanted to kind of explore some options, and I came up with something that I like, and I'm going to kind of walk you through the process.
All right, so the here we have our four basic U-wing pilots, and picking the U-wing that I wanted to fly is the first step. So we have our cheap 23-point basic Blue Squadron Pathfinder, and then we have our three named pilots. Of the three, the only one with an EPT is Cassian Andor, so you get an obvious benefit from going with him. He does not very high pilot skill for your top pilot, with only being 6, but he does have that EPT, so in theory you could make him an 8 if you wanted to do that. But let's start here. We got Heftober, or Heftober. After an enemy ship executes a maneuver that a maneuver that causes it to overlap your ship, you can get a free action. So here's a candidate for the the title, and maybe a systems icon make your to make you pilot skill 0 during activation. Make sure you're going to be a blocker here, and then get free actions. And the idea I had with this guy, if I went with him, would be to maybe have, because I don't want to. It's not a big deal to be able to take a focus or a target lock for free. It's cool, but it's not the centerpiece of a list. Now maybe crew actions, like something like Lando Calrissian, because you're already going to get your normal action. So maybe you move, you block somebody, and now I get to roll Lando, or maybe even like something like Saboteur. If you wanted to bring that back, you might be able to do something like that with him. So I was thinking about crew-based actions for this guy. Bodhi Rook, when a friendly ship acquires a target lock, a ship can lock onto an enemy ship at range 3, 1 to 3 of any friendly ship. So basically, if you spread your fleet out, everybody can target lock all they want. So here's a guy that's really good for munitions, right? And if I want to put some ordnance, if they're firing torpedoes or whatever, even with lower pilot skill, we're still going to get our target locks. To me, this was the least flashy of all of them. I'd rather just go with the 23 points, save a couple of points, and and do that. So I didn't want to do that. But then here's Cassian Andor. At the start of activation, you may remove a stress token from one other friendly ship at range 1 to 2. And what's different about this guy than other, because it's like he's got a built-in wingman, right? But it's not. Wingman's at the start of combat. This guy's at the start of activation. So even if you queue up a red maneuver for a ship that already has a stress, you can remove that stress and then let it perform its red maneuver again. And so that's a nice distinction that's at the start of activation. So I thought that was cool. So I decided that these were my three front runners, but then he's nothing plain, so he wouldn't be as fun. Although he is cheap for a 3-attack ship, but that's kind of tanky. So there is definitely an option for fielding a couple of these, perhaps. But I didn't want to go with him for this video. So it was these two. I think this guy was going to require a little bit more finesse to fly really well. I think that he's a great option, but I decided to go with Cassian Andor for the EPT right now. So that's what I decided to go with. And now what I want to do with Cassian Andor is have him be a stress clearing machine. In my local meta, and in some local metas, you're going to see a lot of stress builds lately. The ARC 170 has kind of brought back the stress bot. There's a lot of people, and then the Shadowcaster has brought back a lot of ships that want to give you stress. And here's a great way to get rid of that stress, right? And so it does two things. If I can make him a good stress clearing machine, it lets me counter somebody else's list who's relying upon giving me stress. And then the other thing it lets me do is it also lets me build in some mechanics to my own list that take advantage of his ability. So first off, I'm going to talk about him. I want him to be a complete stress clearing machine. I'm thinking about putting stuff on my fleet like Rage, right? Or I also think about other ships that are going to take advantage of stress. So here's what we're going to do. Obviously, we're going to give him Pivot Wing, because it's a free title. There's zero bad sides to it, so it's an auto include. All right. Now, I also want to give him Inspiring Recruit. Once per round, when a friendly ship at 1 to 2 removes a stress, it may remove one additional stress token. So here, this factors in. This is almost an obvious. If you're going to go with him, this is a, almost an auto include, depending on what kind of build you're going. So this allows him to remove 2 stress from somebody else, or maybe he only needs to hit 1 during the activation, and then somebody else just does a green maneuver and lets it clear 2, because it doesn't have to be on the same one that he targets. So that's good. And then for the EPT, I'm going with Wingman. Now Wingman, they have to be range 1. These guys are range 1 to 2, but Wingman is kind of a lazy option here. I'm like, I'm just going to make him simple, and he's a complete anti-stress bot. If he's close to you, he can potentially take 3 stress off of you in 1 turn, and maybe 4 if you happen to do a green maneuver or have some other way. And for 0 points, I'm also just going to throw Chopper on there. It works out, and I don't have to do this. There's other ways to do this. Is a floater for the build that I'm putting together. I don't need Chopper on there, but Chopper is my floater, right? He's 0 points, so there's no reason not to include him. He doesn't do anything bad. There's nothing mandatory. So now for other ships to go here, I was thinking, first thing that came to my mind was Tycho. Tycho's helps you, right? He always has a lot of stress, and I'm like, well, that's not the best option. I mean, it was just the part of my thought process. I think about what other rebel ships can rack up a lot of stress. And a lot of the ones that I thought of B-Wings right away, but a lot of the B-Wing pilots actually benefit from having stress, so that's not going to synergize with this. I thought of A-Wings, and I thought of Tycho, and I thought about how, the stress, he doesn't care if you remove his stress. But then I thought about Rage. Okay, so I talked about this. Rage is a great card. It gives you 2 stress, but it gives you a focus token, and you can re-roll your dice. So I thought about, well, what if I combined Rage with something else? So I did go back to A-Wings. I decided on a Green Squadron, and I wanted to do 2 EPTs on this guy. So I give him A-Wing Test Pilot because it's free, and I'm going to give him Juke and Rage. So the problem that I run into is that I wish I had 3 EPTs, right? Because I also want to push the limit. Well, that's no problem. That's no problem because I'm going to give this guy Experimental Interface. So he does Juke first, takes the he doesn't do Juke first. I keep saying that. He takes an evade first, so allows him to take advantage of Juke. All right, so he does an evade first, and then he triggers Experimental Interface, which does specifically allow for an action on an upgrade card. Then he does the action for Rage, assigns a focus token, and then he gets rerolls until the end of his turn for when he attacks, up to 3 dice. So I put that as his modification. So now I'm making an expensive A-Wing here. I could cut the cost down with Chadran refit, but I said, screw that. Let's throw proton rockets on here and make him a really expensive monstrous A-Wing. All right. So that's going to leave me with a ship that can rack up 3 stress. He's going to move. He's going to take an evade. And then he is going to take a stress he's going to take an action first, and then he's going to end up getting 3 stress after that action. 1 for Experimental Interface and 2 for Rage. It'll actually be the 2 for Rage first and then the 1 for Experimental Interface. Well, come on. Cassian can clear all of that, so he's going to be able to do basically whatever he wants. He can, if he doesn't need to evade, he can also boost. He can use it to, to maneuver, and that's fine. So that's him, and he's and this is going to be amazing with him, 2 proton rockets. If he does get that range 1 shot, forget about it. But now this is another one of those flexible cards because you don't need the proton rockets here. I just think this makes him a threat, and he's capable of taking down a lot of damage in 1 turn if you combine it, because you can combine it with Juke here, because you can roll your 5 dice and then still remove 1 of theirs. So that's really cool. All right, now. Here's some other things. You got 42 points left over for this list, so you can put maybe a Millennium Falcon, like put like a Chewbacca out there or something else kind of strong. You have a lot of options. I wanted to have 4 ships, and I wanted to have stuff that was going to shoot before the Green Squadron pilot. I know Cassian Andor is going to shoot before him, so that's great. I wanted some other stuff that was going to be higher pilot skill. A Chewbacca would work. But I also wanted to put in Aaron Kraken. Now, Aaron Kraken is kind of cheap, and he's kind of awesome. So after he shoots, somebody else gets to perform a free action. Now, this has synergy with Cassian Andor. The reason I put it in there is because the one thing that will stop somebody from taking advantage of Aaron Kraken is If they have a stress, they can't perform the free action. So I can give him Veteran Instincts to make him a pilot skill 10. So he's going to shoot first, and hopefully cause my defender, like, hopefully I can kind of keep them all close so Cassian Andor covers everybody, keep them all close so that whoever I'm deciding to shoot my proton rockets on, I'm having these guys shoot them first to cause them to spend their focus, so this way juke will actually work, because a juke typically works best on a, well, I mean, it can work really good a lot of different ways, but in this case, I want it to work on somebody who rolls an evade and I make it an eyeball and they don't have a focus. And now here I've got 22 points left, and I can put out a just a regular blue squadron pilot. I really like that. I could do a couple of little things here. I mean, I don't have to go with a blue squadron. I could do a regular X-wing, but I really like blue squadron pilot. Now I could drop Veteran Instincts down to adaptability, and then I could put, then I have a little bit of options here. I could give the B-wing a crew slot, maybe move Chopper over here, or I could change Chopper out for a one cost. There's a couple of options there, and we're starting to see more and more 0-point stuff. So on my B-wing, I can go ahead and put collision detector on him. It's free sensor. That's no problem. If I wanted to drop Veteran Instincts down, I could swap collision detector out for electronic baffle, which is I think is really a really good card for a B-wing right now. However, I don't think it synergizes as well in this list because Cassian can take stress away. So if I end up having, and a B-wing works good here too because of all the red maneuvers they have. So here is the list, and I don't know how great it's going to be, but I'm going to try and fly it out soon. But I think the strengths are that I've got 4 ships, and I think now 2 of them have 3 attack dice. I don't have anything that can roll more than 3. I mean, at range 1 they can, but I think I got some tanky ships, tanky, and both roll 3 attack dice. So if you go for the weaker ships, you're only taking out ships that roll 2 attack dice. Green Squadron is probably going to have an evade and a focus every turn. So he's gonna be hard. He's not somebody you're gonna be able to one-shot, and chances are he'll be able to hit you with his proton rockets before you do any damage to him. And even if he has to boost to get into range 1, well, I can always then Aaron Kraken shoot and then let this guy take an evade. Right? Or if he does get taken out, no problem. Aaron Kraken can give my regular blue squadron a focus and target lock. They can take a focus, and then when Aaron Kraken shoots, get a target lock. I can double up on him every time. And then if he take him out, I've got Cassian there as well. So and he's probably not going to be the first person they go for because he's going to have potentially 2 agility depending on where he's flying, and and plus he's so tanky. I guess he's about the same as the B-wing, but B-wing's easier to hit because he's always at the 1 agility. So I don't know. I don't know how well it's gonna fly. So hopefully it flies really well. I think it'll be a fun list to play. A-wings are always fun because they're so maneuverable. Aaron Kraken's fun for letting you take actions during combat. Cassian's brand new and his wings move, so he's awesome. And B-wing is my favorite ship of all time, just B-wings in general. So I think this will be a fun list to play for the Rebels, and I will look forward to flying it. What tweaks would you make to a list like this? Would you drop Aaron Kraken down to a pilot skill 9 with just putting adaptability on there and put maybe a 1-point crew somewhere else? Or would you maybe drop proton rockets altogether and free up 5 extra points for, maybe upgrading the B-wing to a named B-wing, or adding gunner or something like that on Cassian Andor? What would you do? Let me know, and I appreciate it. And go ahead and subscribe, and I appreciate the likes and the comments as well. Thank you so much, guys. Take care.